Welcome to the Sports Machine with Brian and Dean. November 18th. Recording in Dallas, Texas. NFL Power Rankings, NBA Power Rankings, and Kodo got stripped from his belt. Got stripped right before the match this weekend.
Crazy.
Western Conference NBA struggles, including the Houston Rockets and New Orleans Pelicans. And of course, somebody's going to get really low. I think you're going to like it today, too. Go hard on them. But last night, College Football Playoff Committee released their rankings, and the top four remain the same as the previous week. Clemson, number 1. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Ohio State. And number 4, Notre Dame. And then number 5, Iowa also stayed the same.
You know what? There's about to be some smoke in the city.
Oh, wow.
If you didn't hear the show yesterday, you missed a treat because I gave my thoughts and my opinions according to the way the playoff selection committee chooses its team. It's almost as if you're outside of the top four, you might as well be a crap team. Because what they saying is what they're saying, in my opinion. Now, this is not exactly what they're saying, but in my opinion, when you are judging the team by their strength of schedule and by the eye test, it doesn't matter who you play or how you play them. You won't crack the top four unless they feel like you deserve to crack the top four.
I think that's how it is when you select the committee to select teams.
Right.
I was kind of curious when they decided to go with a selection committee, because I kind of assumed when they were going to create the playoff originally that they were going to use a BCS system,
right,
but just select the top 4 teams out of the computer rankings or whatever.
Exactly.
And then go from there. But when they chose to have a committee,
and basically just scrap the BCS. My bad. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You still had some more.
I mean, it was just about you select the humans to select this, so they gonna have incentives.
Thank you. Is if people can't be bought? What was my word of the day the other day? Bought.
I wasn't gonna go that far.
Bought, and bought some more. Once again, I say what I have to say mainly because, like you, I thought maybe it was like going to be like a merger of the two. It's like, okay, we're not scrapping the BCS, but what we're going to do is still keep the BCS, the computer system that selects the top 4 teams or the top 10 teams, and then from there they would kind of pick who they was going to pick out of those top 10 teams. You know what I'm saying? Who deserved it because of schedule and things like that. But once again, last year that showed that they didn't. You can't get mad at them for last year because the team they picked to get in won the national championship. So you can't argue that. But I would still argue with the fact that Ohio State is still not number 1, even though they are the undefeated team since their first game of last season. So
it's the same thing happened to Florida State last year, so
right,
you can't be surprised.
Right. But then again, once again, I don't think it's right, but like you said before, can't be surprised with it because they done it to Florida State last year, especially when Florida State had to go on the road from Southeast all the way over to the West Coast to go play an Oregon team that was pretty much playing in their backyard. But, that's another argument. It's an old argument, as a matter of fact. But I can understand why they kept it the same, but at the same time, I'm still looking at Iowa and I'm saying, who have y'all faced? Why are the both of you ahead of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State? I understand that Notre Dame, their one loss was to their number 1 team in the country. Understand that. But so their one loss is much better than Oklahoma State's win against a then top 10 team in TCU. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Right. Obviously, but what I'm saying is, I don't understand, the logic in that. oh, well, you lost to this team right here, so we want to put you in the mix. Oh, but guess what? You guys beat a top 10 team, and you guys are still undefeated, but we're going to keep you at number 6, though. We're going to put you guys right here, even though Iowa really hasn't played anybody.
Iowa had 2 top 25 wins, and Wisconsin and Northwestern.
Good job. Good job, Iowa.
You said that they didn't have any good wins. I just listed the top 25.
No, you're right. But wait. Didn't they just crack back in the top 25, though? They was out of it for a minute, right? They just cracked back into it.
We cannot confirm or deny any allegations at this point in time.
Okay.
But they are in the top 25. That's all that matters.
They are as of now in the top 25. Once again, okay, great job. I won't bash them completely for beating the teams that has been placed in front of them. But at the same time, I don't think Iowa's undefeated wins are as good as Oklahoma State's undefeated wins.
Oklahoma State's undefeated wins only has TCU. That's the only one. That's good.
And that's all should matter. TCU
That's
was
all
better.
should matter.
Yeah, because TCU was better than each and every last one of the opponents Iowa's played.
That's debatable.
Then debate it.
All right. TCU is 18th right now.
They fell back 3 spots after win, might I add. They won and they fell back 3 spots.
Well, it's because they faced Kansas
That's beside
and
the
they
point.
barely won.
That's beside the point. They star quarterback wasn't playing.
He got hurt.
My point exactly.
He might still be hurt.
So you're going to penalize a team for losing their star quarterback. It looks like then they should have been penalizing Notre Dame for losing.
They penalized Baylor at the beginning, so I don't know why you're surprised.
Okay, go ahead with your debate.
All right. TCU is 18th. Northwestern is 20th. There's a 2-spot difference. And then Wisconsin's 25.
On a neutral field, you would pick both of those teams to beat TCU? Thank you. Your silence is deafening.
It's close.
Thank you.
It's close.
Thank you.
TCU does have a
close.
good defense. That defense is terrible.
I don't care who they put. If you got
I agree. I think TCU would probably beat both of those teams.
exactly, that's all I'm saying. It's like, all right, they beat those 2 teams, but you tell me if you put both of those teams against TCU on a neutral field, TCU wouldn't handle them.
TCU at full strength, by the way.
TCU at full strength would handle them.
Yes.
Easily.
But Oklahoma State had TCU halfway through the game without their best player
You're right.
in Doxson.
And I can't argue with that because it looked just like it. Like, once again, we've had countless arguments about who was more important, Trayvon Boykin or Josh Dotson. And from the looks of it, they need them both in order to, right, you know what I'm saying? So it's just call it the 1A and the 1B. Debatable who's the B in that situation. But the field was, once again, I don't agree with Iowa being number 5. If anything, Iowa would be number 7 for me. It would be, if once again, I'm going to state with exactly what I stated yesterday. If this was my top teams, I would go Oklahoma State, then Clemson. I would go Ohio State. I apologize. Ohio State at 1, Clemson 2, Alabama 3, Oklahoma State 4, then Notre Dame at 5, Oklahoma 6, Iowa at 7. And that would be my top 7 right there.
If you're going to do that, you might as well put Florida above Iowa, too. To me, I don't understand why Alabama is so highly ranked ahead of Florida. You look at Florida's 1 loss. They lost by 7 points to, at the time, LSU.
Right.
Who
at the time was dominating everybody.
And then when Ole Miss was doing what they were doing, their number 3 ranked team,
and no matter
Florida beat them.
No matter what league you go to, it's a copycat league. If a team see that you have, if they can stop this one key player on your team, that will stop you from winning. That would get them to win, I should say. Everybody's going to do it. Alabama provided the recipe for how you should attack LSU's offense, and everybody's done it.
Just throw 8 people in the box.
Right. And that's just all there is to it. Take out their best player, and then they're basically an average team. So
below average, it looked like. If it was for Leonard Fournette, it looks like that team would be garbage.
Out of the top 25.
Yes. It's what's been proven.
Yeah. I'm not arguing the point. Once again, you heard what I said yesterday. Basically, to me, anybody who doesn't make it in the NFL playoff, they garbage because that's every team's main point. Your main focus is to make it to the NFL playoff. Get yourself into the top 4 to be able to strut your stuff and prove that you deserve to be in the college football playoff and just prove that you deserve to be the national champion at the end of the day.
I disagree.
Yeah. Right?
Because Houston is 10-0. They could go undefeated the rest of the season. They're not making it in the college football playoff.
And they garbage because they should have played in a better division. It's not my fault. That's the way it's laid out there. They're garbage.
You're calling them garbage.
Garbage. As of right now, you got Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame. That means Iowa's garbage. Oklahoma State is garbage. Oklahoma's garbage. Florida's garbage. Michigan State, garbage. Number 10, Baylor, garbage. Throw them all in the trash can, burn them up. They're garbage.
Coming up, NFL Power Rankings. Hopefully there won't be any garbage teams in there. Sports Machine, this is Brian Franklin with your Sports Machine's daily sports ticker. The college football playoff ranking came out last night. The top 4 are number 1, Clemson, 2, Alabama, 3, Ohio State, and number 4, Notre Dame. In the NFL, Oakland Raiders linebacker Aldon Smith has been suspended for 1 year without pay under the NFL's substance abuse policy. The NFL announced that they will not discipline Cleveland Browns quarterback Johnny Manziel for his involvement in an off-the-road incident in October. In Major League Baseball, the managers of the year have been announced. For the National League, the winner is Cubs manager Joe Madden, and for the American League, the winner is Rangers manager Jeff Bannister. Also in the MLB, the Giants have reportedly come to terms with shortstop Brandon Crawford. The deal has been reported as a 6-year contract worth $75 million. There were 2 key games in men's college basketball last night. Number 2, Kentucky beat number 5, Duke 74-63, and number 13, Michigan State got a big comeback win against number 4, Kansas 79-73. Just went over the college football playoff rankings. Debatable whether it was garbage or not.
This is garbage. Think about, what do we always say, B? Remember when we used to do field day in school, high school? Not even high school, but elementary, middle school field day. If you was someone who got that little participation ribbon, were you taking it home? No. So basically, everybody outside the top 4 is only getting a thanks for participating ribbon. Curtis, AKA or BKA bowl games. Get out of here, man. That's what this country's turned into.
Wow.
Then. Good God. They got a participation ribbon. If you're in the top 4 and then you lose, then basically your only argument is, well, hey, we was the 4th best team in the country or the 3rd best team in the country or the 2nd best team in the country, which again, that's another ribbon. That's number 1st, 2nd, 3rd. That's 2nd and 3rd prize, but at the same time, at least they got in. If you're not in, you garbage. You got a participation ribbon. But back to the point.
No, I think that this is a very key point. I almost don't even want to move on. The fact you think every school that doesn't make the top 4 is garbage. NFL power rankings. Just gonna have to move on. Can we agree on the number 1 team?
The
it
New
has
England.
been
Yeah.
all year. New England Patriots. Not even gonna play the bite this time. Even though it was close against the Giants.
Yeah, it was real close. But even then, let's be like, unless the Panthers had lost, they still would have been number 1 team. If the Panthers had lost, as well as Cincinnati, if all 3 undefeated teams at that moment in time lost, would you still taking them out the number 1 spot?
No,
If there was no more
The
undefeated,
Patriots could have lost and the Panthers could have won. I still would have had the Patriots number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eye test over here.
Great job, great job, playoff committee.
You created a monster. Number 2 is Carolina, undefeated.
Yes, most definitely. I think our list was going to begin to change a little bit after this, but it's quite all right.
Number 3, I have the Bengals still.
Yeah, true story.
I mean, they lost, but
It doesn't matter. Like, I still think that they're better than. They had a day. Call it that. They had a day.
a really bad day against what was supposed to be a bad team, but played really good defense.
Exactly.
TJ Yates. throwing up a Hail Mary to DeAndre Hopkins, who
Right.
makes a great, fantastic catch.
Right. Don't you just hate that? Apologize about that little song y'all heard in the background. I was changing my screen over, and all of a sudden it decides it wants to automatically play. Thank you, ESPN.
You can turn that off. So.
Most definitely.
Number 4, Arizona Cardinals.
Nope.
You got the Vikings.
Yes.
I figured that. I have the Vikings 5.
All right, cool. Once again, I think I said it once, I said it 1,000 times, man. Mike Zimmer got this team playing incredibly well. This team is now the number 1 team in their division right now, with the sliding Packers coming in at second, and people better start watching out for the Chicago Bears. I almost made my top 10. They almost did. Get another win, and I mean, hey, who knows next week?
It's going to remain silent on that.
Come on, Bears fan.
I'm very
Be excited about that, man.
not that excited.
The Bears.
You got to keep your expectations low.
The Bears.
That's the problem between different fandoms. We got Dallas Cowboys fans always thinking they're going to win the Super Bowl, and they get the expectations so high that they go on a suicide watch.
To the bowl. They say me was suicide watch. He even put the gun to his head. Nice.
The Cardinals and Vikings 4 and 5. The only reason I have the Cardinals ahead of the Vikings is just longevity.
Yeah.
I feel like I can trust them more, even though
I feel like I can trust the Vikings run game a lot more than I can trust the Cardinals. And the fact of the matter is the Vikings have a system in place that they're going to run no matter what.
the Cardinals do too. Carson Palmer.
If he doesn't blow out a knee.
Whoa.
Did you read the
Uncalled for.
report earlier about Cincinnati owner saying he hated the way that ended? That Carson Palmer's career ended in Cincinnati? I mean, that's just his feelings, but it's like, yo, you still got Andy Dalton. I mean, you had to let him go in order to get an Andy Dalton, who is still a future of your franchise. Now, if y'all think y'all could trust any other quarterback out there what team is going to allow their number 1 quarterback who has them in any type of winning situation to come to your team, then by all means try it.
Well, you know who is available? The great Brandon Whedon.
Yeah, they can have B-Dub. They can have B-Dub.
Number 6, I have the Packers.
Number 6, I have the Broncos.
I have them 7.
I have the Steelers at number 7.
Really?
Yes,
You
I
trust
do.
the Steelers like that?
Mainly because I know they lost Le'Veon Bell, but D'Angelo Williams is still he's no slouch of a running back. He's no slouch.
Not a slouch.
Not one bit.
I don't trust them more than the teams I have ahead of them.
Except for the Packers. Once again, honestly, I'm a bit surprised they're not lower on your list because of the fact that what you said that's been coming true these past 3 games is starting to show up. The fact of the matter that, hey, their running back, their head guy who's supposed to be doing pretty good for them is having a horrible season right now. You know, Eddie Lacy's just horrible right now. Horrible. They barely can get a run game going sometimes with Starks. But then again, it's like these receivers are starting to look pedestrian. And now you got Aaron Rodgers looking like he's seeing ghosts out there.
Well, his receivers are pedestrian, relatively speaking to the rest of the
Yeah,
NFL.
I was about to say prior to these 3 losses, they didn't look pedestrian. Or was it all Aaron Rodgers?
That's all Aaron Rodgers.
Well.
I mean, you see Tom Brady do it every week.
He made pedestrians look like I won't call them all stars. He made them look like stars, and now they looking like fallen stars.
That's what the great quarterbacks do.
Right.
We saw him to Deion Branch after he left Tom Brady.
Squat. He was squat. That's rated G version. I said I got the Steelers at 7. Who you had at 7?
I had the Broncos.
Okay.
Number 8, I had the Falcons.
I got the Falcons at 8 as well.
Number 9, then I have the Steelers.
Number 9, I have the Packers.
I feel like I know the Packers, I've been calling them out for a while, but I still don't feel like they're that bad. Like, they're still going to be an NFC.
It doesn't get that much easier for them this week as well, especially when you start to look at the Packers is playing at Minnesota this week.
That's going to be a chance.
They're playing at Minnesota against a team who's playing solid defense. Once again, I say Mike Zimmer's defense man. Can't nobody argue the fact that this guy, he was a great defensive coordinator with the Cowboys for a moment, and then when he went to Cincinnati to be their defensive coordinator, he has this defense playing solid as well. Only thing they needed from Teddy Bridgewater was to not turn the ball over, which is something that he hasn't done, and they've relied on their run pretty well. They've gotten a good receiver out there in Stephon Diggs. They just got something good to happen out of Cardale with the kick return, so they got something out of that. Like, once again, this team is starting to look like they're all around.
Number 10 of the Giants.
Number 10, I have the Bills. I have the Bills with the win. They still fighting. They still have a fighting chance.
I think the only reason I chose the Giants, because the 10th spot to me was like, the only reason I chose the Giants because they actually lead a division.
Right.
It's the only reason. Because all those teams are about the same. The Bills, the Jets.
Yeah. You can even throw the Raiders in the mix right now.
They're all highs and lows.
Right.
1 week they're going to look like they could beat the Patriots. The next week they're going to turn the ball 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up, I'm going to switch it up to the NBA. Sports Machine with Brian and Dean, college football playoff ranking, NFL power rankings. Go for 3 in a row. NBA. Number 1, kind of like the NFL. I don't think there's any debate out there. Number 1 has to be the Golden State Warriors.
Most definitely. We had a conversation earlier before the show started about the Golden State Warriors, and I was watching the game, had the opportunity to watch the game earlier tonight, and I was saying, like, with this team, even when things gets helter-skelter for other teams, like, for instance, when a team is going in, like, for the rebound, and someone accidentally leaves one of those very good shooters open, and they don't get the rebound, and it gets tipped back out to one of those shooters, you can pretty much bank on it going in. It's going to be a 3, especially if you're in the middle trying to make a run. Probably played good defense, got them to miss the shot, couldn't get the rebound, and second chance points with this team will kill you. It will kill your momentum. Anybody who sat back and said that this team did not deserve the championship that they won just because they was healthy or just because Cleveland wasn't healthy, man, I ain't got nothing nice to say, so I'm not going to say nothing about them.
World of the haters.
Got nothing to say about anybody who made that allegation. But this team is for real. This team is like so doggone dangerous, man. So dangerous. And it's crazy because I'm a Mavs fan. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a hardcore North Texas sports fan. But this team right here, the way they play basketball is beautiful, man. Steve Kerr has taken over something that was, he took over a good situation that was left behind by Mark Jackson. I think you give Mark Jackson some credit for some of the players that's on his team right now. Do you agree?
Yeah, I believe Mark Jackson deserves some credit. The Warriors' average point differential is 15.3.
Yeah.
They average 114.2 points per game.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Would it be a knee-jerk reaction to pencil this team into the finals already?
Yes.
It would be?
That's exactly.
Yeah, I guess I'm knee-jerking because I'm going to pencil this team in. I am. And I like what San Antonio's doing too, but once again, I don't see a lot of teams out there that could stop this team, man.
I think San Antonio,
barring injury. I'm sorry.
I think San Antonio would actually be an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Matchup from if they actually had to play each other. Mm-hmm. The matchup would be very interesting because I don't think the Warriors have anybody that can really handle Tim Duncan and LaMarcus Aldridge and Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
The Warriors have improved on defense past few years, which is why they won the championship, why they're doing so good now.
Right.
It's because the defense has gotten better. And maybe Iguodala can hold down Kawhi a little bit, but they ain't got nobody inside to handle LaMarcus Aldridge.
In your Western Conference final, San Antonio and Cleveland? I mean, San Antonio and Golden State?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what it looks like,
I can agree with that
even though I'm not 100% sold on that.
already.
The Thunder are coming. Number 2, I have the Cavaliers in my power rankings.
Number 2, I have the San Antonio Spurs.
I have them 3rd.
I have Cleveland 3rd.
All right, we just switch those up. Number 4, I have the Bulls. They've improved on their defense
I
this
agree with
past
that.
week.
I agree with that. I agree with the Bulls. Number 5.
I have the Hawks.
Great job. I do too. I can't shoot them down because once again, this team, like, barring that horrible first season loss, they've improved pretty good. They've become what they're looking like what I expected the Hawks to be, improving on what they done last year. But once again, it won't matter until this team gets to the playoffs.
It'd be interesting if they can compete with the Cavaliers or the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, I have your Dallas Mavericks.
Most definitely. And it's funny because, like, when you think about where this team is in the division, now they're in the top 5 in the Western Conference. Anybody told me that this team right now will be in the top 5 in the Western Conference. Now, granted, it's still early on this season. They've barely gotten about, 15 games, 15, 16 games up underneath their belts. But the fact they're still competing makes me happy.
I actually said they were going to make the playoffs preseason.
Yeah.
I
An
figured
8
8 seed, yeah.
Right.
But
Which
that's-
means they would face
in the-
Golden State.
In the Western Conference, the 8 seed is good.
Right.
We will get into the Western Conference, Eastern Conference battle later on in the show. Number 7, I have the Boston Celtics.
Number 7, I have Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook.
I have the number 8.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't be fooled by the record, people. 6-5. That's because Kevin Durant's been out. last two
Exactly.
games.
Exactly. And I think we prove once again he proves why Russell Westbrook is a great player, but you can't underrate what Kevin Durant brings to that team or what they do together. Those two, both of them together can put up 30 points apiece. That's 60 points between the two of them. Think about it.
Who do you have number 8?
I have Beantown, Boston.
All right, cool.
Yeah, my bad. I got Boston number 8. Like I said before, I like what this team has. You know, they're a defensive-minded team. The coach that they have up there seems to have these guys buying into what he's selling them. And they're using their young players the right way. Once again, it's another team who's doing it the right way. Look at Golden State. They built in the draft. When you look at Oklahoma City, they built in the draft. You know, there's a couple other teams out there. Washington, the Wizards, they built in the draft. You can build in the draft. You don't necessarily have to go out in free agency and try to collect up a whole bunch of, try to pull a Miami Heat. You don't have to do that. You just need to draft guys who can play in your system. And you got to have ownership to be able to back you up fully and all the way, buy into what you're trying to do as well. Because if you got a team who's switching out coaches left and right, that's never good.
Speaking of the Miami Heat, I have them number 9.
I have Toronto at number 9.
The Miami Heat give up 91.5 points per game. Talk about a defensive team. Chris Bosh. Hassan Whiteside, I think he leads the league in blocks per game.
It's funny because they didn't even crack my 10. I like them, but I still think that their season kind of hangs on what Dwayne Wade is going to do.
I don't even count on Dwayne Wade. I like Dwayne Wade.
Because he's the guy who has, their playoff experience. Yes, Chris Bosh is a guy who was there, but at the same time, he's supposed to be their motor. Chris Bosh missed a lot of time last season, so, once again, it just all depends on the health of those guys. Number 10, I got the Clippers.
I have the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah. It's funny because we was kind of down on them about a week ago. I was, anyway. Because everybody was looking at them like they were supposed to be, like one of those teams that's supposed to be competing and getting in the mix. But once again, I just didn't see it. I still don't see it right now.
This is the way I look at it.
Bledsoe.
Because it was between those two teams for me on number 10.
Okay.
Phoenix and Los Angeles.
Right.
This is what got me. They average about the same amount of points per game, 105. For the Suns, it's 105.8. For the Clippers, it's 105.1.
Right.
On the defensive side, the Phoenix Suns give up 100.2 points per game, while the Clippers give up 104.2. So it really is close.
Right.
But I want to state something right now. In my opinion, Eric Bledsoe's a top 5 point guard in the league.
I don't disagree with that.
Chris Paul is not.
You say Chris Paul is not a top 5 point guard?
He is not my top 5.
Well, again, you said it's in your top 5. Now, I guess if I need to name off my top 5 point guards, I'm going with Russell Westbrook, Tony Parker, Chris Paul.
You're forgetting Stephen Curry.
Stephen Curry.
Just thought of the late.
Right. Because sometimes anyway.
He doesn't really do a lot of point guard stuff, but he does
Right.
lead the league.
He plays the point. So I was looking more
He does have
as
a lot
like
of
a
assists
shooting
per
guard,
game.
but right. And number 5, once again, I'm just naming these off the top of my head. So if they're not in my top 5, don't shoot me down. Even though he's not playing right now, Kyrie Irving.
All right. I'm not just going to.
That was just off the top of the head.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
I don't care what anybody say about Tony Parker. Dude can still ball. He can still ball. I'll take him right now for the Mavs over D. Will. And that's with all due respect to D.
D.
Will.
Will's played pretty well this season.
Yeah, he's looking good, but he's no Tony Parker. Agree to disagree, or you agree?
I agree.
Right. All right.
I say Stephen Curry to me has got to be number 1 just because of what he's doing in the league.
Okay.
Then I'll probably take Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
But I had this all in my head. I was getting close. Then I'll take John Wall.
Yeah, I could see that. I guess I kind of screwed him over a bit, but once again, no disrespect to anybody I didn't name. It was just the guys who I can think of right off the bat.
Then I'll take Damian Lillard. And then, as I said, I'd take Eric Bledsoe. I feel like these other point guards don't have as much as Chris Paul got Blake Griffin, and every time he's been good, he's had someone throwing alley-oop to.
What about when he was in New Orleans, though?
I mean, JR. They were running teams. Every
Wow.
time he's had good teams, it's been running teams, lob it up. It's been Lob City wherever he goes.
But if he was, but if he's not there, there is no Lob City.
As we go into the world of the haters.
The Clippers will be.
I might be a hater.
No,
I might be. It's fully possible.
I'm just saying, when I look at what he did with New Orleans, and God knows I couldn't stand that team then because at the time they had Tyson Chandler, and he was just killing the Mavericks back then. But then again, Tyson Chandler's problem was that he couldn't stay healthy for that team. Then they got rid of him because they knew he wasn't going to re-sign him because he didn't want to be in New Orleans to begin with. Got traded to the Lakers. The trade got vetoed by a former commissioner. Then he went to the Clippers. So once again, I think Chris Paul has a key impact on.
I'm not bashing Chris Paul. I think he's a really good point guard, but I think people do overhype him. Because when I listed the other point guard, I've seen all those players play pretty much with less sufficient talent and perform well. I haven't seen Chris Paul do it.
But he didn't get a. When he got to the Clippers, all he had was Blake Griffin
How
at the
good
time.
was he?
Huh?
Chris Paul fall off for a few years, but everyone kind of forgets about that. There was a couple years where he wasn't considered the best point guard in the league.
Yeah, that was Rajon Rondo.
Rajon Rondo, Darren Williams,
Right.
Derrick Rose. He
Right.
wasn't in the list. There was a reason because he didn't have anyone around him. These other players, Russell Westbrook, without Kevin Durant, dropping 40, 10 assists a game, still putting up numbers. Damian Lillard's by himself right now. Eric Bledsoe, the
that's
Phoenix
because,
Suns don't have all those type of people around.
But when you name those point guards, those are scoring point guards to me. Like Chris Paul is not. I think he's the ultimate assist guy. When you look at how he makes other.
Two of the people I
players
listed average more assists a game.
Who was that?
Russell Westbrook leads the league in assists per game.
And then Stephen
John Wall is third. Stephen Curry is 16th. I said Chris Paul's 4th, so I do agree, but he's a good assist guy.
I don't know. I still think you're kind of shooting him down a bit.
Yeah, I'm shooting him down. He's not my top
shooting
5.
him down.
I'm shooting him down because he deserves to be shot down sometime. People overhyped him to me. I don't remember him averaging all this when he didn't have anyone around.
No, I don't think so. I still like Chris Paul, and I understand your point. I also understand your point, but you also make as good of an argument as you make. I still want Chris Paul on my team. I'll take him right now for the Mavericks, without question.
I didn't say he wasn't better than Darren Williams. I said he wasn't in my top 5.
Right.
Coming up, Miguel Cotto was stripped of his WBC title right before the match this weekend, right here on the Sports Machine.
I am Dwaylen Dean. This is your Sports Machine News Update. Oakland Raiders linebacker Alden Smith has been suspended for 1 year without pay under the NFL substance abuse policy. Under the terms of the policy, Smith will be eligible to apply for reinstatement no sooner than 60 days before the 1-year anniversary of the suspension. Smith pled not guilty to misdemeanor counts of hit and run, drunken driving, vandalism, charges that stem from an alleged incident in August. The NFL will not discipline Cleveland Browns quarterback Johnny Manziel for an October driving incident involving his girlfriend. I appreciate the NFL's diligence and discretion in reviewing a situation that was both personal and embarrassing. Close quote from Johnny Manziel. Chicago Cubs manager Joe Madden won his 3rd Manager of the Year award after guiding the Cubs to a 97-65 record and a berth in the NLCS. Quote, "It's really good to know that what you believe in works in other places," close quote. Madden also won an award in the American League with Tampa Bay in 2008 and 2011. In Boston Red Sox slugger David Ortiz, also known as Big Papi to baseball fans worldwide, will retire after the 2016 season. According to multiple reports, USA Today Sports is reporting that Ortiz will officially announce the news Wednesday, which is his 40th birthday. Once again, this is your Sports Machine News Update. I am Dwaylen Dean, Sports Machine.
Sports Machine with Brian and Dean went over the college football playoff ranking, NFL power ranks, and NBA power rankings that really turned into a point guard battle. I may or may not have bashed Chris Paul.
You was giving him the business.
I said he wasn't top 5. He could have been number 6, even though I still.
He wasn't bashing him, but he kind of gave him a backhanded slap with the knuckles. It was like, bow.
I'm not convinced he would have been number 6. I can't think of somebody off the top of my head, but.
Had you been one of those guys, had you been like a Brit or something, I'd expect like one of those proper British people, you took off your glove and slapped him in the face and challenged him to a duel. That's how it was. Yes.
And here we go.
We're going to move on. Miguel Cotto was stripped of his middleweight belt by the World Boxing Council for not paying sanctioning fee of $300,000 plus some additional $25,000. You're going to have to explain the $25,000 to me.
See, the other $25,000 that was supposed to be charged was like an addition. It's like
That's for like his promotion, right?
Right. It's the promotion plus, the winner of this fight coming up this weekend is supposed to move on to face Gennady Golovkin. Or if you want to put, it was the winner of the Golovkin Lemieux fight. And so that was also a part of it. But once again, I have to side with Miguel Cotto on this issue because like I just paid y'all. Like y'all want me to pay y'all $300,000. The $25,000 I can understand from the standpoint of it's just a promotion for both fights. But $300,000 is a bit excessive, especially when you look at the fact that they've also adjusted this price for Floyd Mayweather, Gennady Golovkin, Manny Pacquiao, as well as Oscar De La Hoya at one moment in time. So I can understand why he feels like he shouldn't have to pay. So because he chose not to pay, and because Rock Nation, who now represents Miguel Cotto chose not to pay as well. They went on ahead and stripped him of the title. Now he's the lineal champion, but he's not regarded by the WBO as their champion. He's the lineal middleweight champion. So as of now, the WBO, the next person in line for the WBO title will be Gennady Golovkin. So as of right now, Gennady Golovkin is, I guess, the one who they chosen to represent the WBO as their champion. Miguel Cotto's just the lineal, as they call it, champion. So now they will always refer to him right now as the lineal middleweight champion, Miguel Cotto.
We know who won.
Exactly. And that's why I side with Miguel Cotto on this issue. It's like, yo, you know who the title of this is. The fans know. That's all that matters. Who you got. You guys are just one of many belts.
I'm reading the statement the WBC gave. It's not living up to my expectations. After several weeks of communications, countless attempts, and good faith time extensions, trying to persevere the fight as a WBC World Championship, Miguel Cotto and his promotion, which is Rock Nation Sports, did not agree to comply with the WBC rules and regulations, while Alvarez has agreed to do so. Accordingly, the WBC must rule on the matter prior to the fight. So Alvarez will get this title, even though Cotto got stripped of it.
Right.
AKA, I think that's what that means.
Right. So my deal, but see, my problem.
If he wins.
Once again, my problem with this issue is they're shooting him down because one guy decided to accept it. The one guy who decides to accept it is the guy who's also represented by Golden Boy Promotions. A guy who has also paid that price before. Once again, if I'm Miguel Cotto, I agree. Like if I drop y'all, if I pay you $25,000, what else do I need to pay y'all another $300,000 for? It's for y'all to say that I'm y'all guy when y'all know I went out there and won this belt. I won it.
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't understand.
I don't understand because I was like, so he's paying them to give them free publicity.
Right.
Like he's paying them because he's giving them publicity.
It's like
because what do you do? What does the WBC do from a? I guess they are involved in fight making.
Right.
So I understand that part, but $300,000
it's not
when you know I won the fight.
There's 3 other belts out there: WBO, WBC, IBF, WBO. Like it's 4 different types of titles out there. Now, who's greater than and who's less than? I mean, that's up for debate. You can debate that, but at the same time, it's like I can understand once again how he feels because it's like, well, me holding your belt actually gives you guys some credence. Like it gives you guys the, I guess what the word I'm looking for is like I'm representing you guys in a positive way. I'm a good champion. I go out there and I put up shows. I'm not just some makeshift champion who just went out here and just got a belt. I'm an actual grade A fighter, future Hall of Fame fighter, multi-division champion fighter. Y'all should pay me to have y'all belt.
That's how I looked at it. Real quickly, do you like the fact that boxing has so many different councils, federations, associations, organization?
No, because what we just heard was each one of those basically I'm not sure if all of them are charging that same kind of price, but they could be, and so therefore each federation or organization or like you said operations or
whatever they just randomly call them.
Yeah, whatever their program is, it's all about you guys got to pay us to be our champion, but you was the one who put your belt on the line. Like your fighter put your belt on the line, or you selected me to come fight for your vacant title. You selected me to come fight for your vacant title not because I was just some makeshift dude from around the way or just somebody off the streets who can go out here and fight. You brought me in to fight this other mandatory opponent for your vacant title because, hey, I earned that shot. So now you're going to tell me that because I earned that shot and I beat the guy who I was supposed to beat and I earned that belt that I have to pay y'all to be y'all champion? I guess to get back to the point, no, I don't like the fact that it's about 99 titles out there, and that's just, once again, that's not true, but it's like 6 or 7 different straps out there for each division.
It's like college bowl games.
Yeah, everybody gets a doggone participation river. I mean, it's like, you know, one weight class, one champion. Period. If junior,
I would agree with that, except for I do bash the UFC because Dana White do be hustling them guys.
Yeah.
And girls.
Yeah.
So I guess the same thing could happen in boxing if we had one.
If you had just one title,
Yeah.
then wouldn't you say that they're kind of hustling them with the fees?
Not hustling the way Dana White hustling.
A hustle is a hustle. A shyster is a shyster.
There's a difference between a $300,000 hustle and $1 million hustle.
I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that not one bit.
Right here on the Sports Machine, going into basketball. I read an interesting headline and I was thinking, this must be from last year. The Rockets held a players-only meeting. They're 4-7. You're 11 games into the season. How are you already going to have a players-only meeting?
God.
Isn't it a little too early for that? Just a little bit.
Not only is it too early, but the fact that you have to call a players meeting anyway. Like, once again, that was a story we both read, and I had a problem with, mainly because of I'm a big fan of team sports because of the fact that, excuse me, I'm a big fan of what team sports do, how it brings the camaraderie, like what it brings. It's like a brotherhood. And last year, I remember when I read a story about how other Houston Rockets players said that, you know, when they do events together or when they eating together, James Harden and Dwight Howard, they kind of take themselves away from everybody else. And I said to myself, I'm like, I don't care if I'm the sixth man or the last man on the bench. I would have a problem with that. Because to me, that's like a slap to the face. It's like, well, we too good to, you know, we're the superstars. We're the guys, you know, taking up most of the payroll. And we don't feel like we need to be around the rest of the team as if we're not after going to battle, you know, going to battle each and every day. You know what I'm saying? Each and every game. We supposed to be one ship, one goal, moving towards the same direction. And to me, I felt like last year, even then, I said to myself, I was like, man, like, to me, that's a problem. Now, other people may not view that as a problem, but as a team sport, I think you need that chemistry. You need everybody to be able to, you know, hang together for a second. Like, in those type of events. Now, once again, if it's a team event, you need everybody to be able to get together like that. If they can't get together like that, then I don't see y'all getting any further than what they have been doing.
Something that is usually played as a team is defense. They are ranked 29th in defense.
Right. And so if you James Harden, you can't sit back and afford to eat with somebody, eat by yourself or not be with your teammates when you the main person who give up a majority of the points. Your player do.
You think Kevin McHale's job might end up being on the line?
All because of James Harden and Dwight Howard, most definitely. Most definitely.
So
yes.
This is all on James Harden and Dwight Howard,
most definitely.
in your opinion?
Yes. Yep. I will lay it on their doorstep because they supposed to be the superstars. They supposed to be the guys. They supposed to be those key pieces. Excuse me. They supposed to be the head of the team, you know. These supposed to be your all-stars. Think they was trying to bring in another player to try to make something happen. One time they was even trying to bring in Chris Bosh to kind of create that, you know, that triangle, that three team, that three superstar to help you get to a championship type of deal.
They have lost 4 games in a row.
After winning what?
4 games in a row.
And they started
after 0-3.
God.
Started out 0-3, won 4 games in a row, then lost 4 games in a row.
So they have a problem. So it sounds like they're inconsistency. They're an inconsistent team. An inconsistent team will go out and do stuff like this. But once again, when you label yourself already as maybe never mind. Go ahead. I was about to I almost gave up. I almost gave out one of my really those too soon.
There's another struggling team in the West. New Orleans Pelicans.
Right.
Looks like Anthony Davis has got hurt last night in their game with the Denver Nuggets. Hurt his shoulder. Not sure how long he'll be out.
Mm-hmm.
He has a problem with injuries. His whole in college, pretty much he's had an injury problem his whole career.
Right. I think people forget that he's not that big of a guy. Like, he's tall. Like, he's really tall. But when I say big of a guy, I'm talking physique-wise. Like, you look at Dwight Howard. This dude, Dwight Howard, as friendly as he may come off, he's a big bruiser of a guy. Dude's shoulders about the size of boulders.
The Pelicans are 1-10 after coming to the season. Everyone talking about how they might win be up there with the West with the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis is going to be the MVP. He's going to win 8 MVPs. He's going to be the greatest basketball player in the world.
Right.
He's going to be the next LeBron James.
Right.
Kind of forgetting that
A lot of that had to do with Monty Williams. He also helped knowing the players that he did have, playing to their strengths, and for whatever reason, they just decided, we don't need Monty Williams no more. Hey, Monty Williams, holla at you.
the Pelicans are the worst team in the league in defense, giving up 109.9 points per game.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about the Rockets, who are 29th. Bad defense in the NBA is not a good thing.
Nope.
And
Especially when you're playing in the West.
Wasn't Anthony Davis supposed to be one of those defensive player of the years guys?
Mm-hmm.
Getting blocks all the time.
Right. But once again, he can't do it all by himself. The fact that they thought that this guy was going to just wheel them from his position by himself to face Golden States and San Antonio Spurs in the playoffs and potentially beat him and become an MVP. I mean, you talking about breaking out the anointing oil early. I know he had a pretty decent playoff series, but
You just look at their lineup. I don't understand what people saw. Drew Holiday, he's a quality point guard.
right.
Ish Smith is his backup. I actually like Ish Smith's game.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Gordon is shooting guard. I like Eric Gordon, but he's not.
No, right.
Dante Cunningham is their starting power or small forward.
Wow.
Omir Sheik is their starting center, who has always kind of been a backup as
Right.
a center.
Right. Left Houston because he didn't want to play backup to Dwight Howard.
And their bench is not good.
Mm-hmm. So they basically in the offseason they really didn't improve very much.
No, they did not.
They didn't improve at all.
I don't think so. I mean, Omir Sheik was a good pickup, so Anthony Davis could spread the floor out more.
Right.
But he's. I mean,
Once
you would
again,
you would expect your defense to get better from that.
he was pretty good under Tom Thibodeau, under Thibodeau, who was a defensive-minded coach. So he was a good defensive guy. Once again, I said once, said 1,000 times, man, you ain't gonna get nowhere if your team doesn't have an identity,
Anthony Davis is their identity.
and that's it. Houston Rockets. What is their identity? Do we even know? Their identity is that fact that they're an inconsistent team. That's not a good identity to have. Honestly, it's not a good idea to have.
I was thinking, talking about the Houston Rockets and the Pelicans struggling as Western Conference teams, so I decided to look at the conference standings, both conferences, and they're about even. Eastern Conference and Western Conference, believe it or not, are about even right now. I know it's early in the season. Do you think this will continue all season, or will the Western Conference pull away?
You know, you actually dropped the line to me earlier, and I was kind of a little baffled by it real quick when you said that has the Eastern Conference begin to catch up to the Western Conference. I kind of look at you like, what the heck are you? And then, like I said, when you start announcing out the divisions, like, I was like, wow, maybe they have, because you look at the teams that's in the top off on both sides, especially when you start looking at Boston. Well, what we just say about Boston? They have an identity right now. They doing good with those young players. I think we forget that the Eastern Conference has a bunch of young stars that are playing pretty well with some good coaches over there. And so, who knows? Eventually, they may wind up taking over. Because when you start looking over at the Western Conference, besides who? Golden State, for as being the youngest team over there, and Oklahoma, everybody else is getting old.
Then you look at Oklahoma, there's no guarantee Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook are going to be there.
Exactly. Only sure bet right now is that Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors is going to be around.
Certainly what it seems like. Guess what time it is?
Really though. Really though. Really though.
Things in sports that make you say, really though? Right here on the Sports Machine. Who would you like to go first?
I'll knock myself out and make this real quick. My really though goes to, because it is sports related, my really though that I actually had lined up for yesterday. And be only and this is sports related. My really though goes to James Harden and Khloe Kardashian. Why, you ask? Well, let's just think about over the past couple of months real quickly. Lamar Odom, found in a Las Vegas brothel, half dead, unconscious, was in a coma. Khloe Kardashian comes out of nowhere to his side. Hey, we're going to get through this, and I'm going to be with him, and we're going to postpone our divorce, you know what I'm saying, and try to work things out. And, you know, we're going to do this for Lamar. Not even a couple of weeks later, things start to come out about Khloe Kardashian and who? James Harden. Wow. Another NBA player. So I said to myself, well, wow. If you just put your divorce on hold, then technically you still married. Technically you're still an Odom. You haven't dropped your name. You haven't dropped his name. Technically you're Khloe Kardashian Odom. So therefore, how can you sit back and be in a relationship and then also release a press saying that, oh, well, hey, we're going to still be together and things like that? And then to me, the cherry on top was how she busted out and said James Harden has been her rock in this situation. I'm sitting back thinking to myself, wow, am I the only person forgetting that this woman is still married? Is this what we do? Is this what love is now? Is this what marriage means in America? That, hey, you know, I can say I'm putting my divorce out on hold, but I'm going to be seen with my boyfriend. Ma'am, you don't have a boyfriend. You have a husband that's half dead in the hospital, and then you got your side piece over there. Care what he is, you call, yes, he is a side piece. When you know this woman is married, she's the side, you are the side piece. That goes for men and women alike. Regardless of who you are, you will always be a side piece. Why? Because that person has a ring on their finger. That means they belong to that person in the eyes of God, plain and simple. So James Harden, you are a side piece. That's why your game is struggling right now. That's why your defense sucks. That's why your whole team is inconsistent, because you're too busy being a rock for Khloe Kardashian instead of being the rock for the Houston Rockets. And I'm done. Really though?
Call James Harden a side piece. I gotta make my quick. All right. My really though goes to the mother of a 9-year-old daughter. Decided to send a letter to Cam Newton.
Oh man.
I was gonna pronounce her name. I don't feel like saying her name.
No free publicity on this show.
It's a really long letter, so I'm just gonna slim it down to about 5 words. You are a role model. And then I'll do 1 paragraph. My daughter sensed the change immediately and started asking questions. Won't he get in trouble for doing that? Is he trying to make people mad? Do you think he knows he looks like a spoiled brat? When have you ever heard a 9-year-old say something like that?
A spoiled brat. Wow. I
Really
wonder if
though?
that kid get beat up in school. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I like Torrey Smith tweeted, 1, it's not that serious. 2, she is lying what her 9-year-old says that. 3, has she ever been to recess at her kid's school? Good job, Torrey Smith. That was a good one. Because I was thinking the same thing. There's no way your daughter said all that.
I couldn't understand her saying, hey, Mommy, why is everybody mad? Like, that's their first game, and maybe she's
Yeah.
never been. I can understand that part. But like I said, for the extra stuff that she tried to add on, really, though? No.
I have a huge problem, go a little bit over here.
Yeah, go
with
ahead.
athletes being called role models. I've had this problem for a long time.
Sound
kids.
off. Sound off. Go ahead.
Why don't you become the own role model to your kid? Why
Thank
do you blame athletes for what your kid does? Oh, my kid taunts other kids because Charles Barkley and Jose Bautista do backflips. No, your kid taunt kids because you was a terrible parent.
Straight like that.
You parent your kids. If you want to teach them that is wrong,
Yes.
then you teach it to them.
Yes.
You don't blame it on the athlete and hope the athlete stops. No.
If I had the bell, I'd be sounding the bell each time, bing, because you hitting them on the head. It's like, it's almost like you Ivan Drago right now. And they steady ringing the bell, and he steady jabbing at Apollo Creed. Next thing you know, Apollo Creed is dead.
To the no-name mom. Really, though.
Just like that. I actually want you to go out hard, and I was playing devil's advocate real bad. I want him, like,
I was going to go out, but I knew it would go too long.
yeah, it's okay. It's one of the cool things about when you're the producer of your own show. We do what we want to.
Great show today.
Most
Tomorrow, most likely against the preview of the Thursday night matchup in the NFL and much more right here on the Sports Machine.
Peace out.